Welcome everyone to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now, today we are ending something, and that is our 2024 movie run, and we are starting something brand new, our 2025 movie run.
The end of our first full year of movies.
Full total year, yes, because we started August of 2023.
Yes.
So we finally finished our first full year of movies on the podcast.
Absolutely.
And it feels
Every
great.
movie that will be in the top and bottom lists this year, we have covered on the channel.
Absolutely, yep. So today for our last movie of 2024, we will be looking at Homestead from Angel Studios. For our first movie of 2025, we'll be looking at The Damned. And then we will be following up with the latest movie from our friends who made Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey,
The latest
and
installment
Blood
in
and
the
Honey 2
Poohniverse.
in the Poohniverse. Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
Yeah, we'll have more to say on that later.
Anyways, as always, guys, be sure to subscribe because it really helps us out. And feel free to use the timestamps below to skip around to your favorite movie or jump straight to the rankings if that's all you care about. Without further ado now, let us roll right into our first movie, Homestead. Isaac, if you'd take us away, please.
A former Green Beret and other survivors take refuge inside an elaborate compound when an attack on America leaves the world in chaos.
Nice short explanation here.
There's a very good explanation for this. So, first off, thing to preface about this movie is that this movie is the start of a series, which we did not know until the movie was over and they came and, like, as most Angel Studios movies do, they have an actor from the movie come on and, like, tell you to pay it forward and everything. But they also announced that this is the beginning of a series of the same name on Angel Studios website. So that made a lot of the problems I had with the movie make a lot more sense and made them not be problems anymore.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, but I didn't have a whole lot of problems with this movie. I
didn't either.
Itself was a nice self-contained story. I mean, not all the answers you wanted were gotten, but like where it ended was definitely an ending point.
Yes, it was
like,
definitely
there are several
things
point. Like obviously like the fallout and like the attack itself and everything was still under investigation and being dealt with and that, so that wasn't over, but like it did have an ending. It didn't just like leave you off into a cliff and then, hey, if you don't follow up, you'll never understand it.
Oh yeah.
Really.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I was more talking about an issue I had with this movie was its pacing.
I thought the pacing was fine.
It was more like the moment where she like lets everyone in and all that, I was expecting that much earlier in the movie. Because that usually is like I shouldn't say much earlier. I'm saying I wasn't expecting it to be that, and then that was the end of the movie. Like it just ends at that point. Like I did find that being like, it felt like the crescendo of the movie was like at the very, very end, which I guess I don't know why I felt that way in the moment.
Why?
Like, because now that I'm realizing,
why is everyone coming in the crescendo? No, that's the resolution, because they let everyone in, and because of that, they can use their things and be better. The crescendo of the movie, as you say, the climax is the big gunfight they had with the tax collector. Like that's the
True.
climax of the problem. That's the peak of the conflict here.
That is fair. And that also, like, that came with maybe 20 minutes left in the movie? 20, 30 minutes left in the movie? I want to
Yeah,
say.
so like as a rising action plot chart, it goes up, hits the peak, and then it goes down. So it's obtuse in angle.
Yeah.
So the
I don't
climb
know
up
why.
is longer than the
Yeah.
climb down.
I don't know
That's
what it was. It just, I don't know. There was something about the movie that, like, I didn't get the whole, like, normally when we watch an Angel Studios movie, even ones that are made up, I have these moments that are like, I feel very great emotion watching Angel Studios movies usually.
yeah.
This one I didn't feel. There were a few scenes that I felt a lot in, but I didn't get the feelings I normally get with it. And I'm very interested to see
Well,
how that will
it's
change when I watch the show, because I do intend on watching the show because I am very interested in
yeah. Well,
in it.
this was different because it's an adaptation of a book rather than
Oh, it
a real
is. I
life
didn't know that.
story. Yeah. Yeah, it's an
Well,
adaptation of a book series. So it's a pre-existing fiction made by the
hmm,
company for a movie and a show. And
I
all
thought
the
that
other
this
Angel
was,
Studios movies
yeah.
that we've seen that you felt so emotional of are real life stories of real people actually going through these things
Well,
and
there's
actually
one
getting
different,
hurt.
and
Was
so
there?
yeah, the shift
Oh, the
was.
shift. Well, yeah, the
Yeah,
shift, but you
but
know.
the shift had very. I mean, you could argue that it's based on a real story because it is based off the Book of Job. So you could
Yeah.
argue it's based off a
So there
real
you go,
story.
based off real story.
But you know what I mean? Like I was like, it was very interesting to watch Angel Studios make a movie like this,
Yeah.
where it's a story of survival kind of thing, but it really isn't as well. Like, there's a lot of scenes where the only real people causing conflict were
The government.
the government, really, yeah. And it
The
wasn't even the
tax
government, it was just
collectors.
that one guy. And it was just that one guy because he was scared. Like, he
Yeah.
was like, they have food, I want that food. Like, that was his whole thing, which like, a lot of people, you can kind of see them make the thing like, oh, he's just greedy, like, government man. It's like, no, he's scared like everyone else. Like, that's what it is. He just has the power to do something with it.
I'm not sure I would say yeah, I will grant that he's scared, but he's scared differently than everyone else. Because he as a government tax collector knows he has the power to, you
Yeah,
know, flex on people and for what he wants or
yeah.
do what you have to do and enforce that onto
Well, that's the
people,
other thing.
which is probably why he
Is
started shooting in the first place.
that's the other thing is we don't even know if he's still following like government orders or anything, or if he's just abusing his power. But that's like
Exactly.
a very end of the movie thing. I like that. So whenever there's a survival story, one thing that gets overlooked a lot, like when they talk about it, is like they just say we need food. We don't have food, we need food. Which is very broad. I like it when a movie brings in the math of it. Like, he did the math on like the bare amount of
Yeah.
calories that people need in order to get to the next planting season, and he's like, we just don't have enough. It's like, it's one of my favorite bits in the movie The Martian, where he has to figure out like how many potatoes he needs to eat in order to actually like live. And
Yeah.
it's really cool to see them bring that in, especially because it made the scene later in the movie where his wife lets everyone in and she like wipes away all the numbers and everything. Like, it makes
Yeah.
that more powerful as well, because she's like, we'll just screw the math, we'll find a way. Like, screw the
Yeah.
math, I'm putting my faith in God. And that was
True.
the other thing, is like, that's such a good like thing. They don't like people put their faith in God a lot. Like they do that in these types of movies all the time. It's it's not, I don't want to say it's very rare, but they don't show it very often where they risk literally everything. They throw it literally everything to God.
Yeah. They said we'll find a way no matter what, and then lo and behold, the guy who was at the front of the gate knew how to keep the greenhouse warm all winter, and there you go. So
Yeah, like
worked
it
out.
was yeah, exactly. Like this movie was very interesting. Like it was no like perfect movie by any standards, I would say. I love seeing Neil McDonough in stuff again. Like
Yeah.
I've been a fan of him for a very long time. Ever since like I've seen him in DC shows as Damien Dark. He's a very good villain. He's very good also a very good authority figure as well. So it's very nice to see him getting roles again after being blacklisted in Hollywood.
Yeah. Ben Smallbone, who is part of the band King and Country, and made the movie was very good.
Mm-hmm.
He was the director behind this, as well as one of the producers and writers. And then
Yes,
one of the main writers for this movie was actually used to be the lead guitarist for the band Skillet, which I've been obsessed with pretty much ever since high school. And that was just really cool because like I was just looking up like what happened to this guy. Just one day I was watching the music video and like I love his energy in the Monster music video, and I'm just like, man, what's this guy doing now? Yeah. And it turns out he's writing the movie we're gonna go see in a month, and I'm like, oh, well, shit. Surprise, surprise.
Wow. So I just did a little bit of looking at, because you said it was based on a book, and I'm like, oh cool, I want to see what that is. The name of the book is called Black Autumn. Yeah, it's a 10-book series. I might actually have to read that because it seems like it would be interesting
giant
to know.
Stack of books.
Yeah, I mean, I already added yours, the one you got me, so
yeah.
But no, this was a very. Sorry, go ahead.
I do gotta highlight that the teenage kids in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Very well done. Very well done.
I loved the relationship they had over the course. Built over the course of the movie.
Not only did their relationship feel natural, but like they felt natural. They felt like real teenagers in these situations, and they had like genuine teenage emotion, and like it felt like that's like they weren't acting, and that was they just like brought their actual kids to set and told them this was happening.
Especially the moments like after the big scene where it's Isaiah is his name? Was it the
I forget.
To be fair,
it's been a week. We pushed this off a while. It's been a week already.
But but I think his name was Isaiah when he's talking with the girl.
Isaiah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the girl's name at all. Actually, I totally
we'll call her Claire because I think that's close to what it is.
It's either that or Claire, I guess.
Just call him that.
But anyway, when Isaiah shoots the man because he got really close and he's pointing a gun at him, their megaphone wasn't working and he kills a man. Like,
if I can interrupt you real quick, completely justified, by the way.
Oh yeah, he was absolutely
that guy out in the field was like absolute like smooth brain, like no wrinkles to be had whatsoever. They see some weird like flashing light up there, and he goes to like look at it through his barrel scope, like to like zoom in and see what it is. And they stand there for like 5 minutes, like what is that? What is that up there? Huh?
And
what is that?
And they heard someone say something.
Gun at thing. They couldn't communicate accurately because like the megaphone was a voice, so they could have been just like, oh, there's a person up there. Weird. They didn't even try to like yell though. They didn't like yell anything. I mean, obviously megaphone
No.
they're far away, but they could have like yelled as loud as they could, and they could have like, oh what? Oh, this person up there, or like, what are you
Yeah.
saying? We can't hear you. And then what? They
Yeah.
could have done
But
anything, but the fat ass guy, he stood there with a gun, rifle pointed up at something he can't identify. He just stood there for like 3 minutes,
yeah,
and to anyone else, that's a man
pointing a gun at
trespassing
you.
on property, pointing a long range rifle at you. What else are you meant to do at that point? I mean,
Exactly.
yes,
But
unfortunate incident. It was a miscommunication. They didn't know. It was a misinput. Calm down.
yeah,
Here's the thing. Completely justified.
he
Completely
was.
justified.
But
That guy was kind of dumb. Just
the
saying.
scene where he's like where like he's seeking comfort from Claire, and
Yeah.
then that leads to them having that like really sweet moment. Like I loved that entire scene. Like I remember looking over at you in that scene, and like we were both just smiling because
Yeah.
it was such a good scene. Like it felt so natural and it was very cute. I really really enjoyed that bit, and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, this the action scenes in the movie, like the tactical aspect that the army guys portrayed,
Yeah.
everything was very well done actually. Like
Yeah. I wouldn't
like
be surprised if any of those guys were like actually army trained, or at least had like a consultant on the team
oh
to
yeah.
like direct them. Okay, like this is how we would do this in this situation, and broke it down like that.
Oh, absolutely. Other than that, I don't really have an insane amount of other stuff to really say about this movie. Like
Yeah, me
it was a
neither.
well put together story, actually. It 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 did a good job of A, making a movie, and B, setting up a longer story that I
Yeah,
am excited to see where it goes.
same here. I'm gonna kick us over to the rankings then.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give this a very, very strong high 7 out of 10. It was very well done. I'm big fans of everyone who is involved in the project, from the
Mhm.
director, from the writer, to a lot of the actors were really good, and I recognized a few of them. Everyone put in as much effort as they could. I don't think a whole lot could have been done to make this movie better. I think it perfectly set out what it set out to do, like you said. And just
Yeah,
all around really good, really good.
it was. I'm also giving this movie a 7. I don't think it's in my high sevens, but it is. I think it deserves it, and it is so nice, so refreshing to see a company that's dedicated to bringing Christian values and religion back to the screens.
Yeah.
Like it's something that has seemed taboo in the past, like in more recent years. And I'm glad that someone is sticking up for Christians in Hollywood.
Well, the movies promoting anti-Christian values are not doing so hot at the box office anymore. So,
True, 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 true. All right. Okay.
anyway,
So I
moving on.
we should yeah, moving on.
That will wrap up 2024.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Actually,
End of 2024. Yeah. That is the
I
last
am
one.
so excited for so many movies coming to theaters in 2025. This is going to be a
Oh,
great
yes.
year for films and movie theaters in general, in my opinion, and I really hope we get a lot of bangers this year.
I'm excited.
Starting off with The Damned.
A 19th century widow is forced to make an impossible choice during a cruel winter when a ship sinks off the coast, risking what's left of the village's dwindling supplies.
Yeah, not a Viking movie. Like we said at the
Not
end
a
of the other
Viking
one.
movie.
Thought it was a
Like we
Viking
thought it was.
movie. Was not a Viking movie.
It's a
Icelandic
fisherman movie.
fisherman, actually.
Yeah.
So
So
the whole premise of this movie is that they see a ship out on the water, and it's another group of fishermen, and they're like drowning. Like they ran up against the rocks, and the ship got destroyed, and they're
yeah.
drowning out in the sea. And they see that happen out there, and they don't do anything about it. They said
Yes.
it would be too much resources even if we saved everybody and got them here. We already
Yes.
don't have enough food for us. It's not a good idea. Pay your respects and we'll start fishing again tomorrow. Um, and then when they go out there because they to loot this ship basically because
Well,
they found a barrel
yeah.
of salted pork that washed ashore and they said there might be more stuff out there.
Yeah.
And they find survivors of the boat and then they latch onto the little rowboat that they're all trying to save themselves. But
And they even pull one of them in.
yeah, they
as
pull
well.
one of them in and drown him by
The
accident.
helmsman.
The helmsman. But the thing is, like, if we take, you're gonna capsize our boat, so they gotta like just get rid of him. And one guy just comes up and just smashes the guy's face in, right in front of the woman. And then they leave. When all the bodies float to shore, the guilt really sets in. They're like, we could have done something, but we chose the smarter option to save ourselves. That kind of mirrors Homestead a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
Is we don't have enough food to go around to barely feed us. Adding more mounts to feed will only put all of us in for worse for wear.
Yeah.
But the real part of the movie kicks in after that, where they all start seeing these like visions of the dead bodies walking around, chasing them, coming after them, haunting them. They find their food stolen. They find, like wet footprints everywhere and around their houses. They see the faces, the bodies of the men that washed up ashore, and they even open up one of the caskets that they made for them, and it was empty. So what this is a the Drager they called it, which was an Icelandic zombie kind of, but rather than like infection eating, it was like a body come back to life to terrorize you into madness rather than your typical zombie. It was like a spirit of vengeance, if you will.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. It's so they had this one lady that was like super paranoid and like she like believes in all those superstitions, and like it's very interesting because like people A start going crazy and B she just disappears at one point in the movie.
Yeah,
Like,
just overnight she's just gone.
This movie is very good. I've been thinking about this movie a lot. This movie is like almost, I'm not gonna put it on the same shelf, but it's almost Slingshot level. Like it really is. Like you know how you said you would just sit there and you'd be thinking about Slingshot and everything?
Yeah.
Like I'm having that with this movie. Like there are moments where I'll just be sitting there and I'll just think about this movie. Cuz it's unlike other movies of its kind.
It is. It is. This movie is an excellence in dread because like the dead cold of winter and the premise of a dead body walking around, stalking you, terrorizing you, attacking your mind rather than your body is something unlike most horror movies that you see, especially nowadays.
Like every single time that they show you this thing on screen, it's like it's always facing away from the camera. You almost never see its face. You see its face maybe once, and that's blurry in the background.
Yeah.
Like you never get to see a shot of its face. But like the first time you see it in the movie, like definitely, because there's a moment where you kind of see its outline in the corner, and then she's out looking at like the racks and everything, and like it stands up by out there, like she just sees someone like shivering over there.
Well, here's the thing. That scene starts off with something infinitely more scary. She's walking through the snow with like the crunch of her footsteps in the snow, right?
Yes.
And then you hear two distinct sets of footsteps.
Yes.
And then she stops, but the other steps keep going and then stop.
And then she turns around and sees someone like shivering in the like up against.
It's like
thing.
hunch down next to that, and you see there's someone there.
Yeah.
But it's like still and just crouched down, and then it stands up, and then it just.
And then she runs away.
There, and then she runs away. Like us explaining it to you is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just crumple it up, throw it away. It's not even.
Go on and on
about all. You have to experience this yourself.
Yes. So
the tension is brilliant.
It's so amazing. Every single time you think there's going to be a jump scare, like he's gonna turn around and attack, it's immediately like it's one of those things. It's like when you feel a sneeze about to happen, and then you don't have it happen. Like it's just like it just immediately goes away. Like it just breaks the tension. Well, okay, I'm not saying it the same level, but it's
they do jump scares. They do jump scares, but not the way that you would.
But they break the tension with something completely different. Because normally the way a jump scare works is like the tension builds.
I know how a jump scare works.
You're expecting something to happen, and then it jumps out and it gets you. But it's something completely
jump scare is
different.
Just loud noise to scare you, is what it is.
But
so
what I'm saying is like when you watch a lot of horror movies, okay,
yeah, the best example of what we're trying to depict here, just so you guys get, a visual of it, is there will be there's one scene where there's the Draugr in the corner facing away, and then it's dead silent, and its head just slightly turns towards her. And just when you think like, oh, it's gonna pounce, it's gonna jump, it smash cuts to the next scene with a big loud like thud of a wooden board just like thrown right down onto a cart or something, and that gets you and scares you. Just like loud noise,
like it
completely
switches up the scene. Is what
it just cuts to the next scene.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like or it'll be like someone walks into the room and it cuts to them. And you're like, oh, geez, and then it cuts back, and it's no longer there.
Yeah, like literally, someone walks up on you, and you go, "Oh God, you scared me!" Like that, but like in a movie. And then you look back, and it's gone. So you get blue balled by the Draugr itself, but they do actually scare you with like other things happening in the periphery of the film.
And it's all the men like going slowly insane as well, like they're all seeing things and everything.
I almost don't want to spoil the ending.
No, I don't want to. We're not going to.
Okay.
No, you need to go watch this movie, mainly because I looked at the analytics for this movie. It has a 45% audience score right now.
Really?
It has a 91% critic review, as it rightly deserves.
Oh my God, we're siding with the critics this time. That never happens.
Oh, honestly, the only other time that has happened is when we watched Slingshot.
Yeah, it's really weird, Isaac. You and me are caught in this like limbo in between the two. Like we're capable of just like shutting up and enjoying things that are made purely for entertainment, like Craven or Sonic 3, without reading too deeply into them. But then we're also capable of like cracking open our minds like slightly to like absorb more like accentuated and more deeper altruistic kind of like
way to make us sound like tools.
Well, no, it's well, that's the kind of stuff that the critics love to slurp up, is all the highbrow shit, and then normal people are just like, I don't get it, I don't care, I hate it.
And that's the thing, is that I can see why people
But
wouldn't
we're
like
in
this.
between that. Yeah,
Like, I
I
can
can see
see why
definitely.
people wouldn't. But like
There's I can list off at least 4 reasons why most people wouldn't like this, but it's also the reason that kind of makes it interesting in the first place.
It's like when we went and saw the movie In a Violent Nature.
Yes.
Like a lot of people did not
Yeah.
like that movie, and all the reasons they didn't like the movie were the reasons we fucking loved that movie.
Yeah.
Like it was like it's that same thing. Like, there are all these such little things in this movie that make it amazing. And the reveal at the end of the movie, which we are not going to talk about, by the way, like, the reveal at the end of the movie is so good. Like, it's the reason why we're talking about, like, Slingshot and everything, because, like, it has almost a Slingshot level twist. Like,
It's not Slingshot level, in my
it is
opinion.
not.
So
It is
for
not Slingshot level,
Slingshot,
but
hang on,
it has that.
In Slingshot, you were caught between 2 to 3 possible realities, and you didn't know which one was actually happening.
Yeah.
And then you got the rug pulled out over you, and you got snapped and punched in the face last second, and everything you understood. Almost everything.
Yeah.
With this one, when the twist happens, for me at least, and it tells you like what the ending
really
is
happening.
and what's really happening, I didn't have that punch in the face. I kind of had like a
Fair.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But see,
Interesting. Like it was a lot like slower to understand. I was like, "Wait,
yeah.
what? What does this mean?"
So,
okay, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
In my head, it flipped everything I thought about the movie. Like, right when it revealed it, I was like, "No!" Like, wow. But at the same time, I've been sitting here and I'm like, I don't know enough about Draugr, whatever, or even if whatever. Like, it's one of those things where I could almost, like, I'm caught in that area as well. Of like, oh, was it doing that the whole time? Like, was it what it was? Like, it's kind of hard to explain what I'm thinking here without talking about the thing, and I will talk to you more about it in a bit. But like, yeah, there's not really much more I could talk about with this movie. Like, it uses silence very effectively, and its sound effects. Its sound effects phenomenal at portraying what they need. Like you said earlier with the footsteps in the snow. Like, the setting is amazing. The acting cast was great. I loved all the acting in this movie.
Absolute nobodies, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Like this
For
is
the
like
most
they didn't
part,
they didn't stack this full of like big name actors. Like I'm this is no it was like a British and Irish
there's only like two people
in Iceland.
Yeah, there's only like 2
Going
people
Isaac
that
mode
might have
podcast, you guys.
done something, but I'm not seeing anything. Like, there were 2 people that looked somewhat like there are a few people that looked like somewhat familiar, but I think that's just because I've watched a lot of British television. Like, I've watched a lot of Doctor Who. I've watched a lot. Like, when you watch as much Doctor Who as I have, people are bound to look familiar because they're
Brithead.
Yeah. So, like,
your scones and crumpets and
like crumpets.
You're wannabe British. Anyways, no, absolutely. The cinematography, the setting, the visuals, the air that the movie set for itself.
This movie has a very great atmosphere.
Exactly.
I love all of it. It's so well done, and the characters, like, every character like had their own personality, and they carried that through the movie, and it was all just Like
I could not tell you a single person's name, but I remember all of their personality traits.
Exactly. Like that's honestly, a really good thing in a movie, in my opinion. Like there are a lot of movies that make you like they really put an emphasis on the person's name, but like I feel like a name doesn't mean as much as the character themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like
do.
we can pick every single person out of a lineup. Like like if you threw all of them up in front of me, I could be like, "Oh yeah, that's that guy. That's him. He's the fat one." Like you got
Isaac able to pick out the fat one. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. He can identify fat people by sight. How do you do it? Let us know, please. I'm dying to know. I'm dying to know.
Unfortunately, it's a gift I was just born with. I mean, I was born with these things called eyes.
Ancient Chinese secret. Never tell. How about we kick it over to the rankings and see what we got here.
Oh yeah, I will gladly kick this off. We're starting the year strong. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Like I almost gave it a 10, but I'm like, it's a 9. It's a definite solid 9.
Nice. I'm gonna give this a very solid 8 out of 10. I was absolutely there for the atmosphere. Everything into this. I was initially confused and slow to understand the ending. And I think I still kind of am. But that's it's I don't want to say anticlimactic, but like I wasn't seeing a twist coming, and they kind of retroactively made a twist, and I was just scratching my chin. I'm like, okay. It wasn't a punch in the face reveal. It was kind of a slow burn reveal. And I don't know. I still don't quite know how I feel about that, but I think overall the movie itself is unlike a vast majority of horror movies I've ever seen in my life. It is something completely new.
Yes. And it was fantastic, actually. Strong start to 2024. Now let's move on to something less
a little
strong.
Goofy. A little goofy.
a little
less strong.
I'd say it goes far beyond goofy, in my opinion.
Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare.
All right. Wendy Darling encounters a twisted Tinkerbell as she tries to rescue her brother Michael from the evil clutches of Peter Pan. First off, L description.
Yeah, L description. Why is Tinkerbell the second name in that description?
Yeah, Wendy it doesn't even meet Tinkerbell until like the last 30 minutes of the movie, not even. And I know this because I put up a timer for this movie to be like, all right, we're almost done with this. Because I wanted to see, because I found it helps me if I put up a timer when we watch these movies to easier identify like how the movie is progressing.
Yeah.
It's helped me understand the pacing of movies. And like it was like a half an hour left in the movie before she even met this Tinkerbell. So,
yeah.
This is the third installment in the Pooniverse. In Winnie,
y'all really gotta stop calling it that.
It's in the name of one of the upcoming movies. We're 100% calling it. But
so the very first Winnie Blue Blood and Honey, it was fun. The second Blood and Honey, I actually unironically enjoyed. I thought it was really fun and reminiscent of things like Terrifier and Stream that we saw earlier last year. But this shit.
So the thing about Winnie the Pooh is that they took the premise that they got older got evil and they're killing people now. Cool.
As
That
revenge.
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, and it's a cool twist. This is just a meth head who thinks he's Peter Pan.
Yeah. Not only does he think he's Peter Pan, but he also thinks he's the Joker, Pennywise, and the Grabber.
Yeah, like it's.
I mean, I gotta give props to the guy acting as Peter Pan. He did a bang up job. He was a freak.
He did a very good job.
Clearly, Heath Ledger's Joker, Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise, and Ethan Hawke's the Grabber were huge influences on his portrayal. I could pick out all three of those at multiple points throughout the movie itself. So I mean, he did a good job for what it was, but like. The movie's right shit. I gotta say,
it was.
They're just heroin addicts who kidnap kids and then kill them.
Well, yeah, and they're talking about like the first one that he kidnapped, when he kidnapped Timmy in the movie, and like why did Timmy age faster than the other guy?
Meth.
Fair.
Heroin.
I guess that'll do it.
But so what came as a absolute shock to literally no one, that the little trans kid, the first one that he kidnapped, with the painted nails and the barrettes and the little tutu he was wearing, grew up to be Twinkerbell, and I gotta say I saw that coming a million miles away.
Well, yeah,
they took him to his fucking bedroom, and he had like pink fairies everywhere, and I'm like, first of all, that's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Second of all, he's fucking Tinkerbell, isn't he? And it comes back, and Tinkerbell's got no tits and a man's face, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Timmy.
That's the thing, is that like this one was just edgy to be edgy. And it didn't even accomplish that.
I mean, to be fair, that's what the Pooh thing was. They kind of just said like, "Hey, this thing's free. Let's fucking ruin it." But
they at least still left. They still left part of like. They still drew a clear line from what the original source material was to what it is now. Like they still connected.
This one is like completely off source material.
It's like, just a meth head who found the story of Peter Pan mildly interesting and ran with it.
So mild, he killed hundreds of kids over it.
Yeah, because literally all it was just he's like, I'm sending them to Neverland, but it's just like, no, you're killing them, and you know you're killing them because you state that eventually in the movie. Like he's like, I'm saving them from having to grow old, and I'm like, I can see that, like I can get that, but that is like so far removed. Like it's too far removed from the original thing. Because like Peter's whole thing is just he's a kid, and he's like, hey, I know a place where we don't have to grow old, where we don't have to do all this stuff. Let me show you, and he takes you there. Like this is just an actual adult that thinks life sucks so bad he doesn't want kids to have to go through it, and that's what it is.
So I think the biggest problem, well, one of them, the biggest problem is that they could have gone the route of making it more like the source material and have done like a horrifying version of Neverland. You know, like you know, the mermaids are evil and they'll rip you apart like sirens or whatever. They're like, you know, like they can take like different aspects of the actual island and have it like be scary and murdery and horror, and
that's what I thought it was gonna be, kind of.
But they do not have anywhere near the budget to pull that shit off. So unless you could have done that, I don't think there was a way to make this any kind of serviceable. It was a really bad pick. The only reason it was lined up is because it went public domain first before any of the other ones did.
Here's the other issue, is the fact that it's Peter Pan is different one fundamental level from the other like other three IPs they plan on using.
That he's
Because they plan
human?
on using that he's human. Because they also want to do Bambi and Pinocchio on top of also doing Winnie the Pooh. All
Yeah.
three of those are not human. Peter Pan is the only one who is, which makes him inherently a bad pick. Because you can just identify him as a human.
Yeah, with the other ones, you can like play off like a supernatural element, because you know Winnie the Pooh is weird, like sciencey hodgepodge of animal and human, all this whatever that's going on. You got the giant killer deer, you got Pinocchio coming to life, whatever, and that. So there's some kind of like air of magic or sorcery or evil, demonic, whatever.
You can suspend your disbelief a lot easier.
Right, but it's just a meth head.
Yeah, it's just a dude on drugs.
And then he kills people, and I'm like, nah. Also, it doesn't work.
There's no reason for him to do what he did. Like, the other thing is the Captain Hook in this was like, there's no reason or no discernible reason why he kept that kid in particular chained up into the basement and like just gave him a hook
and like fixed a deadly weapon onto his arm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a low enough IQ to really break down any more of this movie for you. So I think we might as well just call it.
Well, the other thing with this movie is that they did the thing that movies do a lot these days, and I don't like it, is that they just threw gay characters and like gay aspects in there.
Was the kid gay? I don't know. They called him. That's the other
thing, is they kind of
know if he actually was or not. He was holding hands with.
Well, that's the other thing, is like, that's something I don't like in modern day media. You can't have two boys just be friends anymore without someone going, they're gay for each other. Like, I don't like that.
I wrote a book with two guys in it, and immediately first comment was, "Are they gay?" Dog.
No.
Capable of comprehending brotherhood.
Yeah.
Comprehending, sorry.
Outside of blood.
Yeah. I don't know. I have absolutely nothing to say about this.
Through this movie, and yeah, I wish that we had this alone.
Yeah, because I wish we could have shat on it, but there was some weird guy who was on his phone behind us the whole time. He probably would have benefited from us shitting on the movie out loud. But
honestly, it was right.
I gotta say, this wasn't it. As bad as Blood and Honey was, at least you could laugh at how ridiculous it was.
Yeah, exactly.
This was like, I feel like it was trying too hard to like be unironically.
It was almost taking itself seriously.
Movie, and it wasn't at all. It was taking itself seriously. It was like what do you want to feel? Because it's not going to be scared. It's fucking Peter Pan and Tinkerbell here. I'm not scared in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to be grossed out because your effects aren't that good.
No.
I mean, they were decent, but like you're not terrified.
It's almost like they lowballed the budget on this one, because this feels way lower budget than the last Blood and Honey movie was. It
wasn't going to be as good. They knew Blood and Honey was the moneymaker. Okay, that's the one Critical's talking about here. But Peter Pan, that's just something they roll under the radar to get the true fans to watch that just a little bit. But no, big mess. It is connecting to the source material by the thinnest of lines, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm still standing on the hill that Blood and Honey 2 was an actually good, entertaining movie. We're still gonna be here looking forward to the upcoming films to this, because it's just gonna be a a fucking wild shit show all
Pinocchio
the
and
way there.
Bambi are gonna be wild.
It's gonna be. I don't even know what it's gonna be, but we're here for the ride. Let's head on into the rankings on this. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a flat out 3 out of 10. The only positives I can give it is that the gore effects were fairly decent for what their budget was. And I think the guy playing Peter Pan did put some acting elements to work here.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was indeed the best actor out of everyone here. I think he did a fairly good job. But everything's just a complete mess from top to bottom. And I just wanted it to be over.
Yeah, I'm also giving this movie a 3 out of 10. Like it was the actor did put some stuff in. Like there's some stuff, like there's a moment where he like floats off the ground. They put it in the trailer. And it's like
head.
but the problem is that they put so many drugs in the movie that it's just like I could have just been like imagining that cuz he's, high.
No, yeah. Yeah, because then someone comes in and then he's on the floor again. Like he was not levitating. There's no magic here, except for some magic in here. If you know what I'm saying.
That's the other thing is like it was just like it was just a mess. It really was. Like I wish I could say more than that and be more eloquent with it. But now, like even people who have watched our channel know we can absolutely appreciate a low budget film just as long as you put effort into it. And it didn't feel like there was a lot of effort put into this. And
they might have put effort into it, but there wasn't heart.
No, there was no heart. There you go. That's what I meant.
Yeah. All right, that should wrap up our podcast for today here. Isaac, please give our friends and fans a little hint at what we can be seeing next time.
So next time, our lineup should be the movie Better Man, biopic about Robbie Williams. We will also have Den of Thieves 2, the sequel to the first Den of Thieves movie. That's about all I can really say about that. And then we will also have our long-anticipated Wolfman. We have been hyped about this movie since it was like the first time we saw a trailer for it, and lo and behold, we're still hyped. Like,
yeah.
The trailer has barely changed for this movie, and it makes me both excited and very nervous about it.
Yeah, very, very ballsy of us to allow ourselves to get excited for not only a Blumhouse movie, but a Blumhouse movie releasing in January, especially after what happened last time.
True. The last Blumhouse movie that came out in January we were excited for was Night Swim, and that was...
Look what happened there.
Yeah.
Man, it has been a wild year for movies.
It really has.
I am hopefully, happily optimistic that 2025 is going to be an even better year. We're getting Superman, for God's sake. Look at us.
Dude, we're getting Superman. I cannot fucking wait for that movie. Like, actually excited.
That is the most hyped movie of the year. Bar none.
Yeah.
It is a whirlwind of hype for this movie. Cannot wait. 2025 is gonna fucking do numbers for our channel. Hey, 2025 is the year we get monetized. Let's make it happen, people. Let's make it happen. 2025 years we get monetized. We're gonna get our eligibility up. We're gonna get our sub count up, our view count up, our comments counted. We're gonna get paid a whole 10 cents per video, and we will enjoy it. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. It means a whole lot to us. Be sure to subscribe because it keeps us going back to the theaters and bringing these videos back here for you. Be sure to check out our Letterboxd accounts on screen now. And that'll do it for our podcast here today. That's a wrap.
Roll credits.